Can you address this sort of persistent narrative that you're trying to sabotage Shedeur Sanders, especially after yesterday and not putting him in for the 2-minute?
Yeah, obviously, I don't concern myself with outside type of things, but I'm committed to his development, just like all of our rookies. So we'll continue to focus on getting our guys better, and that's what we'll stay committed to, and that's what's important to me.
Ryan Clark just dropped a bombshell that has the entire NFL world talking, and Kevin Stefanski is not going to like this. While Browns fans are screaming that their coach is deliberately sabotaging Shedeur Sanders' development, Clark came out, swinging with some harsh truths that nobody saw coming. The numbers don't lie. 3 of 6 for 14 yards, sacked 5 times, and pulled from the game with over 2 minutes left. But according to Clark, this isn't sabotage. It's something much worse. What he revealed about how the Browns really view their 5th-round quarterback will shock you, and it completely changes everything we thought we know about Shedeur's future in Cleveland. Look, we've all been watching this circus unfold, and let me tell you something. The drama in Cleveland just reached a whole new level. Just yesterday, ESPN confirmed that Shedeur expects to make the Browns' 53-man roster despite his struggles. But here's the kicker that nobody's talking about. The Browns just traded Kenny Pickett to the Raiders for a measly 2026 5th-round pick, which tells you everything you need to know about where this organization's head is at right now. But before we dive into Ryan Clark's nuclear take that's got everyone losing their minds, let's talk about what actually went down that has the entire Browns kingdom divided. Picture this. It's Saturday night against the Rams, and Shedeur Sanders is getting his chance to prove he belongs in the NFL. Instead of a breakout performance, we witnessed what can only be described as a quarterback nightmare. 3 completions, out of 6 attempts for a whopping 14 yards. And if that doesn't make your stomach turn, how about getting sacked 5 times in just 5 series?
Yeah, what it is that they're doing is they're treating Shedeur Sanders like a 5th-round pick. Right. We're not covering every 5th-round pick in the NFL hoping that he gets an opportunity to be the starter on day 1. We felt like, oh my goodness, they got a diamond in the rough. Shedeur Sanders fell to the 5th round. They felt like they evaluated him there, and that's where they picked him. And they're playing the guy that they picked in the 3rd round over him because they evaluate him at a higher level than what they do Shedeur Sanders. And I get it. We were all frustrated. We all thought that the analytics, that the way we viewed the film said that Shedeur Sanders was a late 1st round, early 2nd round pick. But that is not the nature of the position that he's in. There's a lot of players who feel like they should have been picked at a certain spot, should have been viewed in a certain way. But when you get on these teams, it's about developing the team, not doing what's individually best for a certain player. And that's what Kevin Stefanski has to do. And I get it. We want to say all the reasons why what's happening to him isn't right, but maybe we aren't right on the way that not only the entire NFL viewed him, but now the Cleveland Browns.
Now here's where it gets absolutely wild. And this is what Ryan Clark said that has everyone talking. When reporters started asking Kevin Stefanski about whether he's deliberately sabotaging Shedeur Sanders, Clark didn't just defend the coach. He completely destroyed the entire narrative in a way that nobody saw coming. What they're doing is they're treating Shedeur Sanders like a 5th-round pick, Clark said. And man, those words hit like a freight train. We're not covering every 5th-round pick in the NFL hoping that he gets an opportunity to be the starter on day 1. But here's the part that's really going to blow your mind. Clark basically said what we've all been thinking, but nobody wanted to say out loud. The analytics, the film study, everything pointed to Shedeur being a late 1st round, early 2nd round pick. But the NFL? The NFL saw something different, and Clark just exposed the brutal reality that nobody wants to face. There's a lot of players who feel like they should have been picked at a certain spot, should have been viewed in a certain way. Clark continued. And you could feel the tension building. But when you get on these teams, it's about developing the team, not doing what's individually best for a certain player. And just when you think Ryan Clark was done delivering these truth bombs, he dropped the line that has Shedeur Sanders fans absolutely furious. Maybe we aren't right on the way that not only the entire NFL viewed him, but now the Cleveland Browns view him as well. Think about that for a second. Ryan Clark, a guy who's been in these locker rooms, who understands the politics and the reality of NFL development, just told the entire world that maybe, just maybe, everyone else was wrong. About Shedeur Sanders. Not the Browns. Not Kevin Stefanski. Everyone else.
He doesn't play this year unless everybody gets hurt. If all of these players don't get hurt, I expect that they all get an opportunity to start a game before Shedeur.
But wait, because it gets even more devastating. Dan Orlovsky jumped in with film breakdown that showed exactly why the Browns are treating Shedeur the way they are, and it's not pretty. We're talking about a quarterback who's holding on to the football for an average of 4.5 seconds, and in the NFL, that might as well be an eternity. Holding on to the football, catching the snap, and not reading the defense, Orlovsky explained while breaking down the tape. Kind of evaluating what the defense is, what the defensive line is doing, and then trying to see if you can go make a play. And here's the kicker that nobody wants to talk about. All those bad habits that we saw in college, they showed up again against the Rams. The predetermining throws, the slow decision-making, the inability to find the check down when protection breaks down. These aren't rookie mistakes that you can coach away in a few weeks. These are fundamental issues that take time to fix. But the absolute gut punch came when the panel started talking about Shedeur's immediate future, and let me tell you, it's not what Sanders fans want to hear. He doesn't play this year unless everybody gets hurt, one analyst said, and the silence that followed was deafening. If all of these players don't get hurt, I expect that they all get an opportunity to start a game before Shedeur Sanders. Damn, just damn. Now, here's where things get really interesting, and this is breaking news that just came out yesterday. Robert Griffin III, yeah, RG3 himself, is now calling for the Browns to trade either Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel. Think about that. We went from Shedeur should be starting to maybe the Browns should trade him in the span of a few weeks. But here's what's really eating at me. And this is where I think Ryan Clark might be onto something bigger than just football. The narrative around Shedeur Sanders has been so focused on his last name, his social media presence, and his college success that maybe, just maybe, we've been overlooking some fundamental truths about his NFL readiness that let's talk about what actually happened in that Rams game, because the tape doesn't lie. 1st and 10, they run a play action with a double move at the bottom of the screen. The route doesn't win, protection breaks down slightly, and instead of finding the check down that's sitting right there, Shedeur goes through his entire progression and gets to the backside read that wasn't even part of the primary concept. This is 1st and 10, folks. You take the easy completion and live to fight another down. But that's not what happened. 2nd and 9, we've got a spot concept with a flat route and a corner. The linebacker tells you exactly what to do with the football. If he goes out, you throw inside. If he goes in, you throw outside. The linebacker goes out. That ball should go to the inside receiver immediately. Instead, Shedeur holds the football, predetermines the throw to the outside, and now we're in a much tougher down and distance. And here's the play that really shows you why the Browns might be right to pump the brakes on the Shedeur hype train. 3rd and 2, man coverage. And there's a motion man who's going to be wide open in the NFL if you throw with anticipation. The ball has to come out right now, immediately, as soon as that receiver makes his break. Instead, Shedeur moves slowly, tries to see what's happening, and creates a sack fumble that puts the team in a terrible position. But here's what's really wild about this whole situation, and this just broke today. Shedeur Sanders himself came out and said he's frustrated about not playing in those final 2 minutes against the Rams. In the heat of the battle, you want to be that alpha. You want to be that dog. You want to be out there in that final 2-minute drive. And you know what? I respect that mentality. I really do. But there's a difference between wanting to be the alpha and actually earning the right to be the alpha, and Ryan Clark just exposed that gap in a way that nobody else has been willing to do. Now, here's where I'm going to take a slightly different angle than everyone else, because I think there's something we're all missing in this conversation. Yes, Shedeur had a rough game against the Rams. Yes, the tape shows some concerning habits. But let's not forget that this same quarterback threw for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns in his preseason debut against the Panthers. The kid has talent. Nobody's questioning that. But talent without the right development, without the right situation, without the right patience from fans and media, that's how careers get derailed before they even start. And here's something that Ryan Clark said. that I think is getting lost in all the controversy. This is not the end of the world, though. This is part of his development in becoming a potential starting quarterback. That word, potential, that's the key word that everyone seems to be ignoring. Shedeur Sanders has the potential to be a great NFL quarterback, but potential doesn't win games in September. Potential doesn't complete passes when the pocket collapses. Potential doesn't read coverages at NFL speed. What wins games is preparation, decision-making, and the ability to execute under pressure. And right now, if we're being completely honest, Shedeur Sanders is still working on all three of those things. But here's what really gets me fired up about this whole situation. The Browns are catching heat for treating their fifth-round quarterback like a fifth-round quarterback. Think about how insane that is. Kevin Stefanski is being accused of sabotaging a player's development because he's not handing him the starting job after one good preseason game and one rough one. And you know what Ryan Clark said about that narrative? He called it ridiculous and not worthy of following up on. And he's absolutely right. Look, I've been following Shedeur Sanders since his Colorado days, and I want to see him succeed as much as anyone. But success in the NFL isn't about getting opportunities handed to you. It's about earning them, day after day, rep after rep, mistake after mistake. The Browns have Joe Flacco, who's proven he can manage games and not turn the ball over. They've got Dillon Gabriel, who looked significantly better than Shedeur in preseason action. And now they've got Tyler Huntley, who came in and led that game-winning drive that Shedeur Sanders wanted to be a part of so badly. Here's the reality that Ryan Clark exposed and that nobody wants to admit. The Browns are building a football team, not a social media highlight reel. They're trying to win games, not generate clicks. And right now, based on what we've seen on the field, Shedeur Sanders isn't the best option to help them do either of those things. But here's where I think this story gets really interesting moving forward. The Browns just created a massive opportunity by trading Kenny Pickett to the Raiders. That backup quarterback spot is wide open, and it's going to come down to Shedeur Sanders versus Dillon Gabriel for that role. And if I'm being completely honest with you, based on everything we've seen so far, Gabriel has the inside track. He processes information faster, gets the ball out quicker, and looks more comfortable operating at NFL speed. But Shedeur has the higher ceiling, the bigger arm, and the kind of competitive fire that you can't coach. This is where Kevin Stefanski earns his money as a head coach. Can he develop Shedeur Sanders into the quarterback that his talent suggests he can become? Can he fix those decision-making issues and speed up that internal clock? Can he turn potential into production? And here's the twist that I think everyone's missing in this whole controversy. Maybe, just maybe, the Browns are handling this perfectly. Maybe taking the pressure off Shedeur, letting him develop behind the scenes, and not throwing him into a starting role before he's ready is exactly what his career needs. Ryan Clark has seen this story before. He's watched talented rookies get rushed into starting roles before they were ready, and he's seen how that can destroy careers. He's also seen patient development plans turn late-round picks into productive NFL players. When he says the Browns are treating Shedeur Sanders like a fifth-round pick, maybe that's not an insult. Maybe that's exactly what Shedeur needs: realistic expectations, proper development time, and the chance to earn his opportunities rather than having them handed to him. But here's what really bothers me about this whole situation, and this is where I think the fans and media need to do better. We've created this narrative that if you're not starting by your second preseason game, somehow you're being disrespected or sabotaged. That's not how NFL development works. Tom Brady was a sixth-round pick who spent his entire rookie year on the bench. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years behind Brett Favre. Patrick Mahomes didn't start a single game his rookie year. Sometimes the best thing for a young quarterback's development is patience, not immediate playing time. And here's the final twist that I think explains everything about this situation. The Browns aren't trying to ruin Shedeur Sanders' career. They're trying to save it. They've seen what happens when you rush a quarterback into action before he's ready. They've lived through the Johnny Manziel experiment, the Baker Mayfield roller coaster, and the Deshaun Watson disaster. Maybe, just maybe, they've learned from those mistakes that here's my question for all of you watching this. Are the Browns actually sabotaging Shedeur Sanders? Or are they doing exactly what they should be doing, developing him properly and giving him time to fix the issues that every scout and analyst can see on tape? Ryan Clark just gave us the answer, and it's not the one that Shedeur Sanders fans want to hear. But sometimes the truth hurts, and sometimes the truth is exactly what a young quarterback needs to reach his potential. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more NFL drama and analysis that you won't find anywhere else.